All right, we are live. Dustin and Tim got a little 15-year-old made some music. Got a little beat going on here. It's Friday. Never mind. I'm not going to finish that quote.
You could have said the second line. It's not true, but you could have said it.
Yeah, I could have, but it's not true. I mean, Dustin's in Colorado. It could be.
That's also true.
Could be true for Dustin. Hope everyone's having a great day. I am. I'm feeling great. I got up. I worked out. I got some coffee. I've been in meetings. Like, I'm bringing the energy today.
I love it.
Just so you know.
Friday energy. Let's go.
We got Kevin in. What's up, Kevin? Kevin.
What's up, Kev?
Matthews at Myers. Yeah, I agree. Hope everyone has a great, safe holiday weekend for sure. Thanks for coming through. If you want to, you can jump in and thanks. Yeah, it's a mustache. It's here, Kevin. I'm rocking it. I don't know for how long, but we'll see. So here's kind of the setup. I got Dustin Steerman. And Dustin, you can do a quick intro here in a second. I got Tim Drisden. This is the second one of these we've done. So, Dustin, I think you follow Justin Welsh, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Justin really kind of cued me up to this idea of like learning and building in public. And I know that you've done a lot of that with CMYK, and you're continuing to learn and build. And it's been cool to watch that journey. But I thought, well, why does it just have to be like an entrepreneur or a business? Why can't we do some networking and some training for Tim, who's new to packaging in public, right? Like we can record them. They can be online. They can be referenced, but why not? Why does training even have to happen sort of like in behind the scenes and all that sort of stuff? So I just had this idea one day. We did our first one with Kirk and Andy, Kirk Visola and Andy Kurtz. And that was a party. It was a party.
I didn't get to tune in for it, but I can only imagine you get those two guys going. It would be a fun time. So hopefully we can at least bring the same type of energy today.
Let's do it.
Sure, we will.
Let's do it. So first, let's just do maybe just a quick intro, Dustin, on who you are and why you are the person to talk to me and Tim about the digital transformation that we're seeing in packaging.
Sure. So real quick, try to do it in like 45 seconds or less.
You have 48.
All right, sweet. So 17 years in the paper print packaging industry, career lifelong professional in this space. 2013, I jumped into the labels sector and quickly saw what was happening with digital print and labels. At that time, I was still heavily involved in the paper industry and was looking for something more exciting. Started to go down the path of jumping into cannabis. Quickly realized that back in 2014, 2015, there was major challenges with the cannabis supply chain all over the entire industry, but packaging was a big one of those. Everything was being imported, custom labels applied. And then in 2016, I had the opportunity to connect with a good friend of mine, knew the co-founders of at the time, a small company that was a startup called ePack Flexible Packaging. Today, they're not so much of a small company. They're a global leader in digitally printed flexible packaging. And back in 2017, my business partner and I co-invested to build their first facility past proof of concept here in Boulder, Colorado. So that, being in labels really gave me that foresight to see an opportunity in an entirely new form factor that was really ePack was ahead of the market. You see a lot of small and privately owned packaging converters that are jumping into digital flexibles today. ePack was about 4.5 years before the market really reached a point of the adoption level that we're seeing today. So end of last year, I stepped away from my full-time role with the company. Really felt that we delivered on what the goals were and why I decided to get involved, and launched a boutique agency called CMYK. So we're actually just getting ready to officially launch here this month in a couple of weeks. I'm pretty stoked for that.
Awesome. Tim, do you remember CMYK? Do you remember
what it stands for?
Yeah, do you remember this?
It's a pop quiz.
It's a pop quiz.
Oh, it's a Pop quiz.
Quiz hot shot.
CMYK. I was gonna write it down, but it's not gonna help me.
That's right.
Hold on. Nope, I don't remember.
We got cyan,
Cyan. Yeah,
magenta.
magenta.
Yeah.
Hold on. Nope.
Y is for yellow. That's probably the easiest one.
Stop. Don't do easy. This is the I'm the most vulnerable. Let's just put that out there. I'm the most vulnerable in
No,
on
it's all right. Hey,
So
Hey, I appreciate you being vulnerable and jumping on.
we're
No
training in
problem.
public, right? Yeah. So cyan,
Yellow.
magenta, yellow, and black. The K is the weird one because it's. Why wasn't it CMYB? Does
I
anybody?
know, right?
Because you got brown, blue, black. I don't know.
Fair.
And this has to do with 4-color processing. Is that
Yeah.
that's related, right?
Yeah. Hang on. Hang on. Ready?
Let's go.
Those are the 4 colors.
Boom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the name of our group, and real quick, I'll tell you why, Tim. I went with it. It's easy to remember. When I went to launch the agency, I wanted to create an identity for it that I felt resonated for the up and coming generation. Really we have a big vision and big goals, and we want to eventually get to the, packaging schools, Adam, which is something I'd love to talk to you about too, and just help bridge the gap. It's great to see somebody like yourself that's jumping into this space. There's not enough new talent entering the packaging industry. So we want to help solve for that.
Yeah. Tim took his talent to packaging.
I did.
Yeah.
Exclusively.
Okay. So let's talk about this here for a second. What's Jeff saying? Jeff, what are you saying? I've never heard. I've been in packaging for 15 years, printed packaging for 15 years. This is the first time I've had somebody say K stands for key. Dustin, can you educate, or Jeff, do you want to extrapolate more in the comments here? Because I'm not kidding you.
I'm lost on that one, man.
Jeff is trying to. I think he's trying to confuse me.
Oh,
I think he saw my vulnerability and he might be trying to take advantage of me a little bit.
All right. Well,
I'll hit Jeff offline. We'll talk.
Okay. All right. Jeff, make sure you connect up with him on that. Okay. So let's talk about Dustin, a little bit about digital. So for some context, and it's been really interesting to watch your journey as well. He says it never used to be. So the K was for key, and now it's black. I don't know. I don't know.
We'll circle back.
We'll circle back to that. Okay. So you've been on your journey, you've been talking a lot about the digital transformation and having a digital mindset, and maybe being a little bit more process agnostic, and maybe we can tease that out. But just so you know, and I think you already know this about Myers, we have traditional offset presses, 81-inch, 65-inch, 40-inch. We have an Indigo digital label press. We've got an MPS Domino hybrid press. We've got Flexo presses. We have a digital Inca inkjet press. So we've got a pretty decently wide arsenal of printing processes. So maybe as you're talking to somebody who's new to the industry, what is the difference between selling digital packaging or selling digital printing versus selling with utilizing a digital mindset to sell packaging? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I like that. So, I think that for starters, if we just look at selling digital printing, we're talking about one element. It's very narrow focused, right? And Tim, jump in and ask questions as you see fit as we're talking through this. But when I think about it, okay, I have a digital printer. I'm going out, I'm selling the capabilities of digital print. Now, when you talk about applying the digital mindset to packaging, it opens up this really broad spectrum and a lot of different pillars that I refer to, that ultimately it's really about all areas of the packaging business. When you're applying a digital mindset, it's transformation of the business, not digitally printing and applying ink, right? Digital print is transformation of a conventional print process with digital technology. But when I think about the digital mindset and I think about digital packaging, when I got in 2013, digital packaging to me very much meant digitally printed packaging. And that's still a lot of the conversation that you see when we talk about the digital packaging space. But I think we're at a point where we really need to redefine what digital packaging means. And that comes with applying the digital mindset to all areas of the packaging business. And how I would expand upon that is in the case of Myers, which, you know, Adam, you and Michael and I had a chance to catch up, or maybe I had a call with Michael and you and I talked about it separately. I love the offering. Today's buyer is looking for, they're a digital buyer and they're looking for a digital experience, and they really don't care how you manufacture. Some will, but a lot of the companies that you're going to call on, Tim, what they care about is, do you have flexibility? Can you align with an innovative culture that's going on in their business? So a lot of these companies are creating new products. With that new products comes speed to market, the ability to want to test market, prototype, but they also eventually grow and they find their fit in the market. And when they find that fit in the market, it might be time to go to a conventional printing process because of how much demand is out there. They still want a digital experience though. And that digital experience is still being defined. You know, you see web to print companies that are doing it. In the case of Myers, I think you guys have an online ordering portal, right?
Yeah. I mean, for some items. Define web to print, by the way.
I'm not a web to print expert, but in the way that I see web to print and what I know of it is, you're going online and you're customizing a print product. It could be a business card. That's where we saw, you know, Tim, have you ever heard of Vistaprint?
Yes.
Okay. So what's happening is, you know, the ability to design a business card online has expanded into the same type of capabilities, but designing packaging. I think we're still not seeing that take off yet. It has a lot more potential for how it's presently being utilized. And that's just because packaging is a complex design process. Where you see somebody go web to print is typically if like they're the owner of the company, they're buying the packaging and they're designing it themselves. They can get into the portal, they can design it live as they're buying it. That doesn't apply to a lot of businesses that are starting to find themselves running at, you know, call it north of $1 million of revenue, let's say, where they have 3 or 4 or 5 people on the team. And now it's more of a collaborative process. It works during startup. But I think there's still quite a bit of friction there if you're a larger scale buyer. And that's why we have yet to see web to print really move its way up the CPG space in packaging. But it will happen. It's just who's going to be the company that makes it more of a collaborative process.
What is the CPG space?
Great question. Consumer packaged goods. So, you know, you go to the farmer's market, somebody's selling their homemade, you know, gluten-free flour to make waffles with. It's in, you know, a bag in a box. That's a consumer packaged good. It's in a pouch, consumer packaged good, jar, whatever it might be.
And there's a new phrase that's come up called FMCG, which is fast moving consumer goods, which is a whole other thing, but
that's big internationally. I mean, that's been around like in Europe and
yeah, I had never heard it until recently in the US.
I don't think they really use CPG over there. It's just FMCG.
Yeah, we do have some more. The K is for key. Crew is coming out here. We got
Brent.
Let's see. Brent says key color or key plate where the registration marks were referenced is what he says. Okay. Well, I think I've learned more than Tim has. This is all new to me. So, and that's my turn to be vulnerable, Tim. And say this.
Thank you for that, man.
Yeah, I appreciate
I
it.
Well,
feel so much.
that makes three of us. I didn't know what he was either. So,
Well, you know what? I mean, you have to be the most vulnerable because, bro, it's your name. Like, it's the name of your company.
there you go. I'm learning something new today. And you know what?
Super
That's a great day if I'm learning something new. So thanks for giving me the opportunity to learn
Yeah.
alongside live.
Okay. So the digital transformation is, do I have this right? Is kind of like, we need, like, how do we meet modern buyers where they are? Is that maybe a way to describe the transformation that packaging companies are going to have to go through?
I think it definitely is. I mean, it all starts with the buyer, but to your point on modern, it's modernization of the packaging business. You know, it's transformation of the packaging business, and the way that we're looking at it at CMYK is end to end, right? So it starts with sales and marketing, and it's all the way through to getting the product to the buyer's hands. You know, whether that's the small business or the large business, it's looking at every step along the way of the journey for the buyer of the manufacturing process, and then asking ourselves, how can we leverage digital to enhance this or create a better way of doing it? And I think in the manufacturing side, it's just as important as on the buying side. We all know there's a shortage of talent, right? So whether it's in pre-press or it's out in operations, we need to be thinking about how we can take some of the day-to-day tasks, leverage technology to potentially automate so that our precious resources have the time to focus in higher value areas in the business.
Got it. Tim, you got any I've got a few more questions. Do you have anything though? I want to let you jump in.
And I might have got the answer to this, but I guess the goal is how to achieve the digital experience without without printing digitally. I don't want to sound like, is that the point? So like, it's more about the experience than even the process.
In my opinion,
Okay.
I've been around it for a little while. I would say that that's correct. It's
Okay.
how do you reach your prospective buyer, right? The buyer today is a different buyer than they were for packaging 10 years ago. And fortunately for you, I mean, you're only going to know the new way of how things are getting done, or you have the opportunity to just know the new way. It's hard to, as professionals, and we've done something a very long way, to then move into this new realm. That can be a challenge. It's habits that we've built. But, I'll tell you firsthand, you're going to be much more effective in sales on the social platforms. Again, it depends on your target, buyer. But, there's plenty of small, medium-sized businesses that are doing 15, 20 million a year of turnover that you can get in touch with them through their social platforms. Instagram will be a great honey hole. LinkedIn, obviously, just, creating and value-added content for your prospects and engaging in a social selling way, which is not something that a lot of us learned 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So hopefully that answers your question, Tim.
No, for sure.
And John, Hugh confirmed FMCG is huge. You should have done HUWGE and just sorry. I told you I got a different energy today. And
I love it. Huge.
John, yeah, I agree. If a Vistaprint model takes hold, there's going to be a lot of problems. So maybe my question is, why would a digital front end and a digital manufacturing, why would that maybe take hold faster in a digital transformation? Do there tend to be less steps? Is it newer technology? Why does it seem like those why is there Hugh asked if there's Baileys in my coffee. No. Not yet. So why does it seem like those two go hand in hand? Where you can have like a Vistaprint that I'm guessing does, or was another one. Oh, we just ordered a bunch of they are actually stickers, and off of it was like Red Balloon or something like that. Anyway, but it's all digital, right? It's all digital printed. So why do those things go hand in hand? The digital front end, social, great website, web to print, followed by a digital print process on the back end. Is it speed to market? Like, what is it about that makes that marriage so easy?
Well, I think if we play it back, we've had innovative manufacturers of the hardware like the HPs, the Zycons, the Dominoes, who are bringing new technology to market 20 plus years ago in
Right.
digital print. So the industry first saw the manufacturing assets coming into the market before really the workflow and the e-com and the SaaS and software that we're seeing today, which is rapidly advancing. So as an industry, we started more with the assets being available to us. And now, we're trying to catch up to getting these assets. Have always been forward thinking, right? In my opinion, there are very few companies that are truly set up to fully leverage a digital printing press for what it's truly capable of doing.
Mm.
And what I mean by that is we will operate in an industry where a customer places an order and nobody touches it before it starts to print, and that becomes a norm.
Yeah.
And we're not there right now. So we started with the assets. They've been forward thinking. We're now kind of getting caught up on the workflow side of things with different technology developers bringing great solutions to the market, whether it's out of the box ERP systems. You got a group of folks that are working together between Infigo, Tilia, Significance, Print IQ that have a great tech stack. It's costly, but it streamlines that entire front end when both, stitched together. And also the really challenging part with that is creating adoption, right? You're moving from this is how we've done it to this is how we're going to do it. And that's where I see a lot of friction that takes place, is actually adopting the technology. It's the same for us in sales, right? Adopting the CRM. I mean, I'm sure you're probably working through that at times, Adam, when it comes to.
Did you hear that, everybody? At Myers.com.
It's the hardest thing is, just making it a new way of life. Yeah. But to answer your question on why, I just think we started, in that manufacturing element, and now we're trying to pull all the different components of the packaging buying experience and the supply chain together. And it's a major shift. I mean, we're early,
Tim, we need to get by, we need to go over to Hudson Printing and see they've got this it's the newest digital press that I've been able to see, and that might be helpful. It's in Salt Lake City. They have 2 now, I think, right, Dustin? Or
yeah.
In a second.
Their second one's in transit if it's not there already.
Yeah.
And that's the Landa S10, I believe, is what they have. It's like, it's just, like operating a rocket ship is kind of what it looks like.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty, but you could kind of see, I think it would help because obviously you've been through Myers, you've seen the kind of the manual processes that go into a 40-inch and a 65-inch press, and the plate making, and the guy sitting there making sure that everything's going on the cylinder. Like, all that stuff is an art. I mean, it's a true art form, and I don't think that that's going to be going away in the next 20-25 years. But Steve says yes, it's a Landa S10. So anyway, but I think that that'll be helpful because that process has to, like, the front, if the front end, I think if the front end is good, then you can be kind of process agnostic on the back end. And a lot of companies have just said, oh, we'll just get the equipment, and then they don't focus on the front end. And now all they have is they have a digital press that can turn labels in 7 days instead of 12 days. It's like,
right.
Micro text, and like it can do variable print, like all that stuff is cool, but has it really met the buyer where they are? It's product focused. It's not problem focused. I do want to get to Hugh's question here because I think this is a good one. And then I'll let you ask the last question. Hang on a second.
And I also want to share a couple, Adam, I want to share a couple points for Tim too before before
do
we
it.
wrap up, but let's get to Hugh's
So
question.
next gen process in digital printing, is it going to be driven by substrate, machines, or a combination of both?
Yeah, it's a good one. I mean, and it's such like it's a wide space, right? Digital printing could be, we're seeing cans take off, digitally printed direct to can.
Yep.
I love that direct to shape market and what's possible there. But, I think substrate is going to be driven by sustainability, and in the area of digital print or, digital packaging. To answer your question, I'm going machine with that. I say substrate is going to align with sustainability. Machine will align with digital transformation.
Got it. Yeah. I kind of envision a world where, and I think I've shared this with you, Dustin, but where a brand is married to their specs, and there is a front end where they can, you basically order what it is that you want when you need it, and there's an ecosystem that some sort like a machine or an AI model, whatever, that goes through and says like, okay, this needs to run here. So you're not really in relationship with like a specific print vendor or like a stack of print vendors, but it's really like, I need this by this time, and then it the relationship is with the equipment and the substrate, right? And not so much with the vendor, I think, is a possibility, but that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, fireworks are going off because I've had some conversations with friends that are very much looking at marketplace, and we'll save that one for now.
Yeah. Real quickly, we got Steve says, digital makes printers more agile and flexible to buyers' needs. Totally agree with that. So you had a couple points, Dustin, and I wanted to let Tim ask any other questions he had.
Yeah, Tim, if you want to kick off with your questions, and I'll just share some thoughts with you.
I am right now drinking from a fire hose.
Yep.
Especially when it comes to a lot of the terminology and a lot of, there's just so much coming at me right now. That's why I'm looking to the side because I'm actually writing some things down.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be really helpful to get to your points because I haven't even processed it all to even know which direction to ask the question, to be honest. But this has been great. So I would love to hear more about some of the points.
Well, I guess just some thoughts for you. I would say it's easy to become overwhelmed in this space, when it comes to the technicalities of the market. But the increasing amount of buyers that are entering the market aren't a lot of them. Again, it depends on who you're calling on. But in the case of folding carton and small business, they are less technical buyers right now. They're looking for you to help understand what are their pain points and help them solve their pain points. And I would encourage looking at, working with Adam on, and Adam, I think you'll agree when it comes to the world of spec right. Let's standardize a couple of core products that, fit 90% of what the demand is needing. Understand those. But really, when it comes to you and prospecting, what I would be looking at is looking for the high growth brands. So brands that are out there that you constantly seeing bringing new products to market or have a good following. Digitally native brands are definitely an area to be spending time. You can find them on Instagram. You can find them on TikTok. I don't have TikTok. So Adam, I'll let you speak to TikTok, but I've kept it off my phone. But look for brands that have, a bunch of different products, or if they have one product, 6, 7, 8 SKUs, let's say. And that's where you have complexity in their product offering, but you, with your team at Myers, you can offer them simplification. You can solve for that, right? Because today in folding carton, there aren't a lot of producers that are doing it digitally. That's still very much a diamond in the rough to have that capability. So go out, find people that are buying folding carton. They have, 7, 8, 10 different SKUs, and focus your time on them versus the ones that are, buying big volume, 2 or 3 SKUs. When it comes to digital, at least, that's not going to be the right place to play. And a lot of the folks that are chasing that big volume, unfortunately, in my opinion, oftentimes it's a race to the bottom. There's plenty of new buyers that are entering the market that have, the new brands are serving new consumer demand. It's a ton of differentiation, and it's constantly evolving. So personally, as a new rep entering the packaging realm, I would be focusing on this new emerging sector versus the conventional CPG.
I love
Hopefully
it.
that helps.
No, it's great.
Super helpful.
Well, that's all I had. I mean, we're at the 30-minute mark here. Had a few other comments. Yeah, the evolution from the HP 6800 to the V12 and the Landa. It is rapidly, the equipment is rapidly changing. And I think to Dustin's point, Tim, being focused on what does the equipment do today versus what do the buyers need today is going to be kind of like you're chasing your tail, because the technology is kind of continually evolving. It's good to know, but focusing on what customers are wanting is pretty critical. John says design. Oh, per the AI conversation. Yeah, that's a I don't we I like lie awake at night thinking about that stuff. um Digital, Michaela says digital is great for promo, variable print, one-offs. Historically, some of the presses out there are starting to get into the high volume realm. Yeah, I agree. I think that there's a lot more that digital printing can do that it traditionally has not done. Just as a, would you agree with that, Dustin?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm not as familiar with the Domino equipment, but I do see some operators in the label realm that are moving higher and higher volume runs to that Domino asset.
Yep.
And I think you could see go for the same in, corrugated, and you look at the page wide technology and the kind of throughput that's happening now on digital preprint, and there's some pretty substantial throughput happening.
Yeah, I know there's a Hummingbird at GP. There's the EFI has a shoot, I can't what's
the
the
Nozomi.
Nozomi, yeah.
So Nozomi is kind of more like that C500, which Fantastipack has, or the Box Maker and Company Box. But to your point on Hummingbird, that's kind of where my head was going with.
Yeah.
Extremely. I mean, they're running at, I think, north of 1,000 feet per minute on preprint liner right now in corrugated.
Yeah.
It's just
that's fast, Tim. Yeah. That's fast.
Sounds fast.
Yeah. Brent, appreciate you answering Hugh's question here on the ecosystem. And then, yeah, Michaela just agreeing with us. Sometimes buyers and marketing are aligned, and agreeing on the high volume. So I think that's all we got for our live comments. I know for Myers, if from a digital perspective, we do have digital capabilities on labels and folding cartons, and so if you do need those, please reach out. You can connect up with me or Tim. There's also some people here in the comments. I saw Kevin Matthews. Please reach out. We would obviously love to chat with you. That's not the point of this, but I would be remiss not to mention that's a possibility. Tim, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
Tim.Drisdom@myers.com.
That's
or
right.
You can find me on LinkedIn.
And Dustin, how do people get a hold of you, and who are the types of people that you want to be talking to besides Myers, obviously?
Love to engage with you in Myers. You can reach me on LinkedIn or Dustin at itscmyk.com. And really any business that is interested in digitally transforming, whether it's a hardware company that's looking to better understand how to go to market and sell their equipment to the Myers of the world, or it's the packaging converter who's looking at, hey, how can I go down the path of digital transformation? We're working with the entire, all stakeholders, even brands. We're working with brands too that, are looking to understand, who's the best vendor for what I'm looking to do with my packaging and my brand. So
we'll send them all to Tim Drisdom. All those.
We can work a little back and forth relationship there.
Let's get it going.
Two-way referral system.
Yes, sir.
That's amazing. Well, how about we throw a little outro music? We feeling some outro music? It's got a pretty nice beat drop. Appreciate everybody jumping into the comments. Steve, Jeff, Michaela, Hugh, Brent. Kevin. Who else did I miss? John. Here it comes. Ready? Yeah, I love it. Hope everyone has a really great weekend. Have a safe weekend, and make sure you connect up with myself or Tim or Dustin. I'm going to wrap this thing up here. Thanks, everyone.